I want to do a truth table example. So I'm going to do a truth table example involving this bowling ball. So in a truth table, we have several statements that you could make. Usually they're given the letters P and Q. So P here could be, I push on a bowling ball. Q could be, the bowling ball moves. Now you want to have various rows where you examine what might happen. And so in a truth table, it doesn't matter what actually happens in a situation, but what it does is it documents all possibilities of what could happen. So a lot of times when I'm teaching this, I draw a picture of the action or condition that corresponds to each statement being true or false. So for example, I have my bowling ball on the table over here, and I'm just going to draw a picture of me pushing on this ball. I'll draw like an arrow to represent my force of push. And then I also have to show that the ball moved. So over here I'll show that the ball was here, now it's here, now it's here. So we have motion. So I'm just going to do an example of that just by actually pushing on the ball to show you what I mean. So we had a push and we had motion. So in that situation, P was true and Q was also true. But that's not the only possibility that could occur. It might be that maybe I push on the ball and it doesn't move. Is that possible? All right. What about this? Yeah, I promise I am pushing down. But yeah, it's not moving. So this second row could be drawn perhaps something like this. I'm applying a downward force, but because there's a table underneath the ball remains motionless. So that would correspond to a true for P and a false for Q. We can examine some other possibilities. Maybe P is false and Q is true. Is that one possible? I'm wondering if, is it possible that I don't push on this bowling ball, but it does move somehow on its own? Yeah, I have a creative way of achieving that here. I have some textbooks. And maybe you know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to create a ramp. Okay. Now let's see if it's possible that even though I don't push on the ball, perhaps it moves all on its own. It did. So, row 3 has happened here. And the ball rolled on its own down the ramp. What about the final possibility? When you have two statements, there's always 4 possibilities. TT, TF, FT, and FF. So what would it take to create the final situation? Well, actually, it doesn't take anything at all. First, I have to remove the ramp condition. And all I have to do is just don't push on the ball, and it doesn't move. So all 4 conditions were possible. Now I'll tell you, when it comes to a truth table, it doesn't even matter whether the conditions are possible or not. Okay, all you have to do is always have this pattern of T, 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 F, F, T, F, F. Some of the outcomes may be achievable, some of them may be impossible in our world, but that doesn't matter to creating the truth table.